Hello, it's Dale here. Today I'm going to talk to you about Abaca paper. Let's have a look here. Abaca paper comes from it's a long stable fibre. It comes from the abaca tree in the Philippines, and it's sold under all sorts of guises, and so anything to confuse people. We call it Tissue Tex because it's a sort of trade name that Gwen Headley had introduced me to it years ago. It's also known as conservation tissue because it's a fibre. It's sometimes known as lens tissue, and it's also called repair tissue, and probably there are other names. But Abaca paper is what I do know it as, and we sell it as either that or Tissue Tex. And it's got wet strength, so it comes in, we sell it in two weights. This is what you call the lightweight or the ordinary Tissue Tex. Can you see how you can see through it? And that's and you can see the fibres in it. And this is what makes it precious. It's not a piece of tissue paper. It is actually a fibre, and it's got all sorts of qualities. You can shrink it up and use it in all sorts of ways. It has wet strength, and you can bond it to things, and it will, because it's so transparent, you can see what you put on below. So I'm going to talk to you about a few things I've done, and then later on maybe some more. And then we also sell what's called Tissue Tex Plus, which is, I think this is 9 GSM. I think the other might be 15. I'm just not sure off the top of my head. But I use it for all sorts of things. And you can colour it with anything. You can stitch on it. You can pleat it. You can smock it. So here I've got one where I've twin needled it. Bits down. You can colour it. I've coloured it with almost anything that takes my fancy. But Jacinda dyes a lot of it for us. And so we don't always have it, but at the moment we've got quite a bit. You can see the different colours, but look what she's done here. I have no idea, but I coveted this piece for myself because of the texture. But it takes dye very, very well. Now, I'm not a dyer, and so I will use it with my sprays or with runny paints like Dynaflow. I've also covered it. Now, I'll just show you a few things that I've done this week. This is using a screen, and this is a heavier one. It doesn't matter which I just grab whichever one suits me. And I've used a screen to put down a baobab tree, perhaps getting ready or thinking about broom, who knows. And so I put a whole pile together. This is the nature of it. So when I screened it, it went right through to the other layers, which means I've got ghosting and other shadows that I can use in different ways. And then I would bond it to a piece of fabric, felt, whatever you're working on, Vilene, etc., cotton, whatever, and bond it with fusible webbing, or best bond it with something like Gossamer Fuse, because that's so fine it doesn't sort of take up any change the handle at all anyway. But just a few other things I've done. So here I've scrumped it all up and I've rubbed it with Inktense blocks. That's the Inktense, like the crayons, but the blocks which I like. And then I've wet them so you've got that, Monet style colour moving around. And then I've also coloured it. I might have done jelly plate, I'm not sure. And I've used a stencil and put some paste through it. So it's just a super paper to work with. And another one here. So there's lots of different stencils, the same stencil, just mucking around filling it up. But one of the things I like about it so much is that it's like a fabric, and I use it as such. And when I finished, if I want to protect it, I'll paint it with a matte medium or Jo Sonja textile medium or something like that. But the other delightful thing that I do is to attach it to a background, like a piece of printing paper, and feed it through my inkjet printer. And these are some pictures from Marrakesh, because if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I'm working on a taste of Morocco, so I found these in that particular container. So they're photos that I took in Marrakesh, and I printed them out. Now, when I bond them to another surface, they will just sink into the surface, which is what's so lovely about them. Here's another one that was in from Marrakesh. And if you see when I put it onto my background, it picks up, it sinks into the background, and you can see the background through the back of it. So that was another little precious photo, and I do that a lot. This one here is another one from Marrakesh, and it's a photo I took, and I've used Tissue Tex on the back and other things I've printed and whatnot, but that's my image that I've then stitched onto that background. So it's also, because it's light and it is a fibre, it's just lovely to work with. That's another one that I've done here, and I've put the image onto, printed it onto and coloured it in a little bit in Marrakesh, just to create some texture. And then just a couple more to show you. This is, you know, because I can't go on my flycation to New Zealand, I thought I'd find one of my kiwis. And this is another piece that's all scrambled up, and I've stamped on it with a kiwi. I've sprayed it with Starbird, with the Moon Glow sprays, the Moon Shadow Mists, because they've got that walnut ink in them, so you get that lovely texture. And there he is, languishing, not quite in the bush. And also, just finally, that's some other ones that have been done and put on another surface, so it takes paint and colour and everything so very well. And then just a couple more here of using my different paints and stencils and whatever I've got. So I hope that's given you a few ideas, and I'll show you some more next time. Cheerio, have a nice day.